We built empires on their backs, but who really owns who?
History is most often told as a story of humans. It is a chronicle of kings and queens, of empires and revolutions, of art and war. But this is only half the story. Within this grand human narrative, another story is woven, one that is far older and more profound. It is the story of our silent partners, our unexpected adversaries, our living symbols, and our divine gods. It is the story of animals. If we look closely at the foundations of our civilization, we find their paw prints and hoof marks embedded in every brick. This is not merely a tale of hunter and hunted. It is the epic of a complex, astonishing, and often unbelievable bond with the creatures who have shared our planet, a bond that has shaped the very essence of who we are. Our shared journey began in the flickering firelight of the Stone Age. For millennia, we were equals in a world of predator and prey. Then, some 15,000 years ago, a momentous event occurred, an act of cautious curiosity that would alter the course of life on Earth forever. A wolf, drawn by the warmth of a human encampment and the scent of roasted meat, chose alliance over aggression. This first pact, sealed not with words but with a shared meal, marked the birth of the dog and the dawn of a new era. For the first time, we had a partner in the hunt, a loyal guardian for our camps, a living, breathing bridge between our world and the wild. This was the first emotional contract between human and animal, a bond of trust that laid the groundwork for all that was to come. From this single thread, the tapestry of civilization began to be woven. The domestication of livestock that followed was not just an agricultural revolution. It was a revolution in human thought. Sheep, goats, and cattle became more than just a source of meat, milk, and wool. They represented a stable food supply, a release from the constant, precarious search for sustenance. This surplus was the seed of society. It allowed for settled life, for the first villages to rise from the mud. With surplus came specialization. Not everyone had to be a hunter or a forager anymore. A person could now be a potter, a weaver, a priest, or a builder. The concepts of property, inheritance, and social hierarchy were born from the ownership of a herd. Upon the backs of other animals, civilization itself began to move. The horse, tamed on the Eurasian steppes, became the engine of conquest and communication. Its speed collapsed distance, enabling the vast empires of the Mongols and the Persians to be governed. In the Americas, the arrival of the Spanish horse granted the conquistadors a terrifying, almost supernatural advantage over civilizations that had never seen such a creature. The camel, the stoic ship of the desert, made trans-Saharan trade possible, connecting the wealth of West Africa with the markets of the Mediterranean. We built the cities, but it was the quiet, immense labor of the ox, the horse, and the donkey that laid their foundations and fed their people. Yet our relationship with animals was never purely utilitarian. As we looked out upon a world of immense power and mystery, we saw in animals the faces of our gods. We projected our deepest fears and greatest hopes onto them, seeking to understand the forces of nature by giving them a familiar form. In ancient Egypt, the deadly crocodile of the Nile was not just a menace. It was a manifestation of Sobek, the god of creation, military might, and pharaonic power. To be devoured by a crocodile was a terrifying fate, yet priests in his temples would lovingly adorn sacred crocodiles with jewels and feed them delicacies. At the same time, the elegant cat, protector of the granaries from vermin, was revered as an incarnation of the goddess Bastet. To kill a cat, even accidentally, was a crime punishable by death. This deification was a global phenomenon. In India, the cow became a living symbol of life, nourishment, and gentleness, a sacred being whose holiness endures to this day, while the elephant-headed Ganesha is worshipped as the remover of obstacles, and the monkey god Hanuman stands as a paragon of devotion and strength. In the Americas, the feathered serpent god, Quetzalcoatl, embodied the duality of heaven and earth, while the jaguar, a silent and powerful hunter of the jungle, became a symbol of royalty and shamanic power. For the Romans, a she-wolf was the sacred foster mother of their city's founders, Romulus and Remus. Contrast this with Norse mythology, where the wolf Fenrir was a monstrous agent of chaos, destined to devour Odin himself during Ragnarok. The same animal could be a divine creator in one culture and a demonic destroyer in another, a perfect reflection of our own shifting perceptions. But the coin of animal symbolism has a bizarre and darker side. The very intelligence and soul we sometimes ascribe to animals could also make them culpable in our eyes. In medieval Europe, a pig that killed a child or a swarm of locusts that devoured a field could be formally arrested, put on trial, and, if found guilty, publicly executed. These animal trials were not farces. They were conducted with the full solemnity of the law, complete with lawyers for both the prosecution and the defense. Behind them lay a theological belief that animals could be possessed by demons and were therefore morally responsible for their actions. In 1474, a rooster in Basel, Switzerland, was tried and burned at the stake for the unnatural crime of laying an egg, which was believed to produce a monstrous cockatrice. The animal that was a god yesterday could find itself a defendant in the dock today. This surreal enlistment of animals into human affairs continued into the modern age, especially in the theater of war. The battlefield became a stage for their unexpected heroism and immense tragedy. During the Cold War, the CIA embarked on a top-secret project called Acoustic Kitty, a plan to surgically implant microphones in the bodies of cats. The goal was to use these animals as spies, listening in on conversations without being detected. However, the project faced numerous challenges and ethical dilemmas, and transmitters into a cat to turn it into a mobile surveillance device. The first and only field test ended in disaster when the technologically enhanced feline was released and immediately run over by a taxi. More successfully, both the United States and Soviet navies have trained dolphins and sea lions for military tasks like mine detection and equipment recovery, turning these intelligent marine mammals into the most innocent of soldiers. The history of war is filled with such stories. The flaming pigs used by the Romans to panic the war elephants of their enemies. The more than 1 million horses and mules, whose labor was the logistical backbone of the Western Front in World War I. And the heroic messenger pigeons, like Sher Ami, who flew through a hail of gunfire to deliver messages that saved entire battalions. Still, the legacy of animals is not confined to divinity and destruction. They have also been our greatest muses and our most profound teachers. The first glimmers of human art, daubed on the cave walls of Lascaux and Chauvet 30,000 years ago, are not of us, but of them. The bison, horses, and lions, captured there in ochre and charcoal, are humanity's first masterpieces, a testament to the awe these creatures inspired in us. This inspiration never waned. From Aesop's fables, where animals hold up a mirror to human folly and virtue, to George Orwell's Animal Farm, a scathing political allegory, we have used animals to tell our own stories. In the world of science and innovation, this inspiration has become tangible, solving some of our most complex engineering problems. The famous Shinkansen bullet trains of Japan once created a deafening sonic boom when exiting tunnels. The solution came not from a computer, but from a bird. Engineers modeled the nose of the train on the beak of the kingfisher, a bird that dives from the air into water with barely a splash. This act of biomimicry not only silenced the boom, but also made the train faster and more energy efficient. This principle is everywhere. Adhesives inspired by the microscopic hairs on a gecko's feet, self-cooling building designs based on the intricate structure of termite mounds, water-repellent surfaces that mimic the self-cleaning properties of the lotus leaf. Nature, through its animal architects, has already solved the problems we are just now beginning to understand. And so, from the first cave painting to the latest high-tech design, from the temple altar to the courtroom dock, animals are not merely characters in the human story. They are among its co-authors. They are the silent partners in our civilization, the secret language of our symbols, and the living proof of our unbreakable bond with the natural world. When we look at their history, we see a reflection of our own, our most primitive fears, our most sublime beliefs, and our most brilliant inventions. Today, we stand at the most critical juncture of this shared history. In an age some call the Anthropocene, we have become the single greatest force affecting life on this planet. We preside over the 6th mass extinction, even as we cherish our pets with unprecedented affection. This is the paradox of our time. As we look to the future, the story of our relationship with animals poses the ultimate question: what will our chapters say about us? Will we be remembered as the generation that broke this ancient pact, or the one that finally learned to honor it? The answer is still being written, and the eyes of the animal world are watching.